Yeah, and mine is throw a little event. Find a friend that has a penthouse, bring your clothes over there if it's just an online business, and invite your customers and suppliers, plus some of your friends. So if your customers and suppliers don't come, then you have people, so it doesn't look like a flop.
Like, we started selling this product out of the trunk of our cars.
Don't be afraid to fail.
Inventory management is about balance.
Get the product out. That's number one.
I've always preached sustainable growth.
So we just started building community.
Look at the data.
Product development is everything.
Yeah, we say we're a brick, click, and pop.
But you have to love what you do.
Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Merchant Mastery. I'm here today with Courtney Watkins and Anna Van Egan from Mine and Yours, which is an awesome e-commerce store here in Vancouver. Mine and Yours started as just a brick and mortar retail location, and they've since grown to 4 full-time people working on the e-commerce team. So things are starting to really pick up online. So thank you both for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And Courtney, so Courtney here is the founder. Courtney, why don't you give us a little bit of just a back end? Like, I know you know we were just talking a little bit before recording the podcast here. You're telling me you did some, you studied fashion in Los Angeles, so you've kind of always been in fashion and retail. What led you to start Mine and Yours and then get onto e-commerce?
Yeah, so I moved to LA when I was 17 and went to fashion school. I always I found in my grade 7 yearbook said, I'm going to own a clothing store one day. So I was always interested in the fashion industry. I was back and forth between LA and Vancouver for many years, and then I moved home finally, and I took over my family business, which was very separate. It was a sawmill. So I was running that for a few years, and then I was really like, okay, selling wood is not my passion. Like, I need to get back into fashion. And I was actually starting to write a business plan for kind of like a rent the runway, because we didn't have anything here. And while I was doing that, I was introduced to my previous business partner, and she had a business plan for, well, it used to be called Baroness on a Budget, which is now turned into Mine and Yours. And it was a resale boutique, which there was a lot of them down in LA, and she had lived there too. So I knew I loved shopping at them down there and kind of jumped on board, and we started the business a couple months later.
Excellent. So remind us of that awesome name again.
Baroness on a Budget.
Yeah. Like, based on what I know about Mine and Yours, it's not like it's a high end.
Yeah, it is a high end store. So that would have been a weird name for it. But when we started off too, we weren't as high end as we are now. Like, our product has slowly gotten better and better over the years. We still went after designer brands when we opened, but it was really the product that we could get our hands on. So I would say our average price point before was probably like, $75 plus some handbags that were like, $200-$300, and then we'd get in a Chanel and we'd be so excited about it. Now we have, probably 25 Chanels in store.
Incredible. So at this time in the story, though, you're not online yet. You're just brick and mortar.
Yeah, well, we started with eBay as we were looking for our retail location, just because at that point that was where I knew we could sell secondhand. And then I think we were running for about a year before we opened up before we started with Shopify.
Okay, and I know this is something I talk about a lot with other store owners. It's it's building an initial customer base, like a loyal customer base. Did you experience that with eBay? Like, did you start to see a lot of repeat buyers and start to build some brand recognition?
No.
We still don't see that on eBay.
Yeah.
No,
you're still
selling on eBay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
so I think that might be a challenge there. But once you open the store a year later, you're coming with no brand recognition, so you're effectively starting a new business from scratch.
Online, yeah.
Yeah. With the brick and mortar.
With the brick and mortar when we started, yeah. Well, we started by doing reverse shopping parties. So we would host a party at someone's apartment, and we would invite people we knew, and they would invite their friends, and they would come over with their clothes, and we would buy from them. So that's kind of how we got a little customer base.
Okay, great. Yeah, so then like that fan base, did you see starting to help you build the brick and mortar business?
Yes, definitely. We from the beginning, we had really loyal customers. Like a lot of our customers have turned into friends, and we targeted people in the fashion industry where we wanted to shop their closet. So even before we had a retail location, I was going into people's houses as well and buying clothes from them, and then trying to, when we opened, letting them know that now we have a store and trying to get them to come in and sell and buy from us.
I hear this time and time again that relationship building, like actually going and hitting the pavement and doing some initial sales and relationship building, is like irreplaceable in terms of building that initial brand and customer base. Is that?
Yeah, when we opened the door, I remember we were so excited to launch, and it was like a little live work place. So it was like 300 square feet, and then there was our office space on top, and then Jigme, my old business partner, lived on the very top floor. And we opened it up, and it literally the only person that came the first day was the guy that introduced us.
And did you start to see more people come day to day?
Yeah, and then then it was us like reaching out to the people that we knew. Hey, we opened this location, and it took about 3 weeks, and then we had a launch party. And then once we had a launch party, we got press to pick up that we were a new company, and social media.
Okay, so then once you have this social media launch, after the 3 week mark, you have the big party. You're starting to pick some more traction? Like, what were sales like? What was the growth like after that point?
More traction, but more traction from one customer is easy to increase quickly. Yeah. It was still slow. It took a while, but luckily we had low rents, low overhead, and there was so many other parts of the building or the business we were still building that. Like I feel like we were probably seeing maybe 4 or 5 customers a day for the first little bit.
Okay, and what point did that change?
I feel like it's actually just been like a slow and steady increase. I mean, now we're on our 3rd location, and it's 1,200 square feet, over 300 square feet, and we're on a busier part of the road, so we have more people walk by and see us. But kind of like year after year, I don't feel like it ever crazy spiked, except when we got our new location really helped because it was so much more visible. But kind of like year after year, it's been like 20 to 40% growth.
Okay. I think this is actually a good lesson for anybody who's either at a plateau or they're just getting started with e-commerce. There usually isn't some magic wand that you just wave at your business and it blows up overnight. It's always,
if it is, show me the wand.
Yeah, I'd like to see it too.
I haven't seen this wand myself yet either. It's theoretical. But I think from what I know from anybody that I talk to, and even for our own business, is that it's usually incremental growth, and there's a business savviness. So there's some business savviness that you need to kind of pivot and see what's the next best, smarter move that you need to dive into.
Yeah. I mean, for a while, we were really like a couple years ago, when I first joined the business, we were really focused on our e-commerce, and it was like we want to get up as much as we can, and we want to get it sold. And so we were really scrambling with a super small team, like not the people we have now. It was like me and like part-time assistants from like whatever other
few interns people. Maybe.
Yeah, we have an intern program, so like whatever interns we could wrangle up, who would come in and help and learn from us. And then we're like, you know what, we need to like actually go back to like focusing on sales, making sure like our in-store sales are really, really strong. Then we come back to our e-commerce, because without our in-store sales, we don't really have a business. So for us, they're very linked. And now we've really been able to grow the e-commerce side and the Shopify side of it pretty exponentially in the last 2 years, especially for us, have been nuts. In the best way.
So Anna, you were like, I know you mentioned earlier that there's 4 full-time people now working on the e-commerce side. Were you the first person?
So there were already team members that had been doing the e-commerce for Mine and Yours before I came on board. I was actually hired to be a product photographer and then also help with a little bit of like the retail sales. My background is in like photography, art direction, retail, as well as having worked for a Shopify company gave me like a Shopify themes company, gave me like a really strong background in how you market to your consumer. Because when you're building out a Shopify theme that you're going to then go and sell that theme as your product, you want to be marketing it to the people who are like, I have a kids clothing store how am I going to like lay this out? So that was a really fun experience and interesting. And then I did freelancing, graphic design, photography for about a year. And then I was like, I'm lonely. Like working from home gets lonely. So I wanted to come in somewhere like really fun and vibrant, and I've been at Mine and Yours ever since. And yeah, so it was a slow build, because when I came in, there wasn't anyone dedicated just to e-commerce. Like everyone kind of did a little bit of everything. So I would come in and like be on the sales floor, like meeting clients, helping people, making sales. And then I would have, half an hour and I would do some Instagram. And then I would get another couple hours later that afternoon. So I would photograph some product, edit it, get it up online, write the product descriptions all myself. And from there we were like, if we want to scale, we need more dedicated people to be coordinating everything.
And it was hard to put the budget towards it because we only have one of everything. So it does take a while to get the item shot, edited, uploaded, product description wrote. But
can you explain that one of everything a little bit?
Yeah, so because we're secondhand, so we buy from people. So people will come in and sell items that they either purchased and they realize they don't look good in, or they don't want to wear, or something they've worn a couple times and they want to even like trade it in for something else. So because of that, we have one of every item. So unlike other stores that can post the item, advertise it, and sell 100 to 1,000 pieces of just that one photo, we have to keep shooting every one. Mm-hmm.
So you're saying like that's obviously a big resource suck and commitment.
Definitely, yeah. We have we have a full-time photographer on, and then 2 part-time photographers.
So this is phenomenal. Like I'm really starting to see how this is like, and there was no big giant leap, but there's 20-40% growth here and there, and you kind of like incrementally increase the e-commerce side. So I'm guessing when you started e-commerce, it wasn't that magic wand moment where it's like, okay, here we go.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember how much it cost. I think it was we paid someone, I think it was like $500, maybe it was like $750 to come in. She was new to Vancouver. I think she had photography and graphic design experience, but we decided to go with Shopify, and she came in and like shot, I can't remember how many pieces, upload them, played around with the whole thing, and helped us launch it. But it was like, I think a lot of times people think can be very expensive, and it can be very expensive, or you need an expert to do it, but she wasn't a Shopify expert. She had graphic experience and was a photographer, and she kind of launched.
I think this is a good lesson too now, because you're kind of thinking at this point, we should probably build the e-commerce side, but it could be overwhelming about the financial commitment and the amount of attention all these different strategies need. But you knew that you need to kind of pivot in this direction, and you made it cost effective to do so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, people are always shocked when they come in and watch our shooting process, how quickly we do it. Like we shoot on a model instead of on a mannequin, which is also more expensive, but it looks so much better. So for all you clothing retailers out there, get a model, don't use a mannequin. But
and there's a lot of models out there that are aspiring models, and
lots of great. Even like we usually work with models that are with an agency, and even then it's pretty affordable. But we can shoot in a 5-hour shoot. We typically can shoot 150 unique items. In 5 hours.
Oh, incredible.
Yeah, on 2 models. And then we have a team so there will be whoever's doing, so there's the photographer, we'll have a stylist, and then we'll have someone keeping track of everything that we're shooting so that it's all in order and cataloged. In the order that it was shot, so that then we can go through and write the product descriptions really easily. Incredible. And then we'll have an assistant, and so we can pretty much shoot what for like a traditional retailer would be their whole season's catalog in 5 hours.
Wow. So being very efficient with time, budgets.
Yeah.
It's a really interesting model that you have where you can only sell one at a time, because you're right. Speaking with a lot of fashion retailers, they usually have the luxury where they can bring in one item, put it on sale, sell a bunch of that, and introduce people to all their other products after.
Totally.
And spend a lot of time and energy to make that product look so amazing on their site. And we've had people come in that wanted to work with us, and they, you know, I'm like, you need to get this cost per product. Like, I'm only selling one of that. Like, I need the cost per product. It can't be $40 to get it up online. I'm not gonna make any money on it.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah, and it might sell in my store.
Yeah, totally. Because sometimes things sell in the store before they even make it online.
Yeah.
So then we've gotten like halfway through that spend, but haven't even got the product online.
Is that pretty common?
Yeah. I would say like.
That's a very unique challenge.
Yeah, I would say.
That's why at one point we were like, should we just focus on in-store? Like, we're selling more in-store. But now we've decided to focus more online because you can just reach a bigger audience.
Yeah.
But it is frustrating sometimes. Or like the model buys it, which is good. But you're like, oh my God, I put all the energy in.
We just
Oh wait,
shot
no.
that, and now you're
Yeah, I wanted to sell it. It's sold. I'm happy.
Yeah, it's great though. Like our regular models that we use have also become our regular clients, which is funny. And yeah, anyone we tend to work with gets like drawn in, and we see them shopping at the store. Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny that you pointed that out, because people will produce these big editorial fashion shoots and lookbooks and all different angles and all this stuff, but you got to be very cost effective.
Yeah, totally.
And when we do our shoots, even for social, for Instagram, we'll shoot stuff, and I'm like, okay, we got to get this stuff up right away, or else we're gonna, because usually we're shooting our popular products too. I'm like, it's all going to be sold if we don't get it shot up or posted soon.
Totally. We have to our like e-commerce marketing and our social media has to be very flexible so that we can pivot quickly in case everything we have scheduled for the next week to post on social sells out, which sometimes happens, and then we're like, okay, guess we're shooting today.
Okay, so that sounds like a risky situation to me.
Yeah.
You're producing these editorial calendars and content and photo
Totally.
shoots, and then the items could all sell, so you kind of need to reshoot. But here we are today. You have 4 full-time e-commerce staff members.
Yeah.
Like, what's been the key to? I mean, efficiency's been really key. But how did you build the customer base? Like, how did you ensure that you're selling enough product to grow to the level you have?
I think Instagram was a really big part of it.
Yeah, social media for sure.
Yeah.
So we really leverage Instagram stories. We have our clients will come in, or they'll even email us, message us on Instagram, and they'll say like, your stories are so addictive. I watch them every night when I'm in bed. I love to tap all the way through. And we do swipe up to shop, so they get redirected to our Shopify store. So they can purchase directly through Shopify, or if our item isn't available for purchase on Shopify yet, they can DM us on Instagram and we'll send them an invoice through Shopify. So even if the product isn't live on the website yet, we can still sell it online.
Probably saves you some resource costs.
Yeah.
Totally, yeah. But on the flip side of that, we post anywhere from 20 to 30 slides on our Instagram stories every day. So that's
for
also
anyone watching. If you want to sell on Instagram, 20 to 30, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. For sure. It's and it's we have clients messaging us like, where are the stories if we don't post that day? Like, guys, I was waiting for you.
I didn't know that till now.
Yeah.
I know we had a chat earlier, but I didn't know that till now.
Yeah.
That's interesting, because that probably also helps market the brick and mortar location too.
Totally.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you're not just putting all those resources into. It's almost like even if it sells out, at least there's 20 to 30 different things going on.
Totally, yeah. And so we also leverage that by saying like, hey, so sorry, this item is sold, but if you'd like to sign up for our wish list, we can reach out to you directly next time we get one in. So we keep a wish list for all of our clients. We just need name, email address, and what they're looking for. And then if we get that item in, we will send them an email, let them know, and they get kind of first dibs on it.
And how are you managing that wish list? Is it an app or is it just
It's a
spreadsheet?
It's a Google spreadsheet. Yeah.
An employee and a Google spreadsheet.
Absolutely.
It is not the most efficient way, we are sure, but
We're working on that.
Well,
yeah.
There's a new app that I saw that was I don't know if it's going to work for your one unique products, but it's I think it's called Add to Wish List or something, and it lets people know.
Yeah.
We've looked at a couple wish
just got
lists,
that one, actually.
but a lot of the wish lists are if that SKU gets restocked, and when it comes in again, it'll be under a different SKU number, and someone might have called it something slightly different, or it might be like a little tiny bit different, but they might still want it. So it does make it harder because it's secondhand too.
Yeah. So for me, I'm thinking like it sounds like if you want to build this one item product e-commerce business, it's almost like great unique content at scale to sell e-commerce at scale. Like you can't just do a few things. It's like 20 to 30. I've never met anyone who does 20 to 30 stories in a day.
Totally. Well, and it also, like, no one else does. Like, we have a lot of competitors who might post a couple times a week, and they might do 10 slides on stories. But people think of ours kind of more like watching TV.
Yeah. Okay. So, and you told me some numbers earlier. So right now, at the point of your business, 20% of all sales are coming from e-commerce.
Yeah.
30% of that are coming through Instagram.
Yeah, usually.
Have you seen that number grow, or is it kind of been
So actually, in the last like year, as our online sales have grown, that number has dropped.
Okay.
So we're getting more direct web traffic to the website. They're still, like, our Instagram sales are still really high, and they're kind of scaling with us. But like, as our sales online have gone up, it's been more like this time, like 2 years ago, probably like 70% of our sales came from Instagram stories.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Oh, so the amount.
So the
from
amount
Instagram is
of revenue coming from Instagram directly has dipped, but it's still increased.
Yeah.
And that just in terms of like the ratio. So now we're getting a lot more like unique traffic to the website. We're running retargeting ads, so like a lot more people coming to see us from. We've been following them on Facebook or Instagram, and like they keep seeing Mine and Yours product, and they'll come back and buy it.
And one of the reasons too, before we didn't have that much product online, so we only had about 15% of our product up on the up online, but we were posting a ton, especially all the new stuff that came in that was really popular, posting that on Instagram or on our stories, and it was just selling right away. Where now we have committed to taking the resources and photographing and editing and getting the product up, and now we have 60% of our
about 62% of our inventory is online. So still not everything.
Because just to recap, is that because it's selling before you even have to get it online?
Some of it is, and it's also because like right now we have about 2,000 unique items.
Okay.
So
just keeping up with that.
Yeah,
amount.
we can. Yeah, exactly. Like we
but
can.
Still, 62% of 2,000 is pretty significant.
Yeah, totally.
It's like 1,200 or something.
Yeah, and that was hiring another photographer and just spending. We're like, okay, let's get. The more product we have on our store, the more sales we'll see. It's kind of direct to that. And also, if you go on a store and let's say you're looking for a shoe and you're a size 7, there's only 2 options. It's really not that exciting. But if you have 20 options, then you're more likely to come back.
I get this sense of like, having if you have only one item, like those sell, your website's bare, what do you do? So you've really tripled down on this amount of like product photography content, new items. That's phenomenal.
Yeah, so before we wanted to, I feel like this year is our year of spending more time and energy in marketing it, but before we wanted to market the site, we wanted to build it up so that we had product there to market.
That's great. So I think that kind of sounds like a safe thing that not all of your revenue is coming from Instagram. So like with these social media tools and Amazon ads or Google ads or anything, like an algorithm changes, that part of your business can dip like that.
Totally. And that's part of the reason we have been using stories so aggressively, is because as the like Instagram algorithm has been shifting so much in the last like 2 years, our engagement on our posts on our feed have dropped like like, and you can see instantly like the day when Instagram has like made an algorithm change and it's like affected us, because we'll see we're going up, we're getting like 200-300 likes on something, and then all of a sudden it's like you post something and it's 30 likes and like no comments. Like, oh, no one saw that.
So did you put a lot more focus on the feed prior to stories?
Yeah, we used to.
Yeah.
So you're kind of just pivoting with where the opportunity is.
Yeah, before I came in, we used to try and be posting on our feed probably like
twice a day.
2 to 3 times a day was the goal. Now we post once a day.
Was there even stories back then either?
So we...
I don't even remember, right? Yeah, I don't even think that existed.
I think we were were definitely like one of the first businesses to leverage Instagram stories in like a really aggressive way. And I think we kind of still, like, I don't see a lot of businesses that post the same way that we do.
Not that amount.
Yeah,
That's
no.
new.
Yeah.
So would you, so 32% around is coming from Instagram. Where is the other 70% of sales coming from?
I would say online, like, I would say it's like direct and like new and returning online clients.
So you have like a pretty loyal customer base. They're familiar
Yeah.
with you.
Yeah.
You said you're doing some like cold ads, like Facebook ads and stuff like that to new
Yeah,
audiences.
so we're
Yeah.
running some catalog ads right now, just like slideshows of product, and then some more like styled photos to kind of push the urgency and the idea of like finding like that one piece you've been searching for. So like leveraging the fact that we only have one of everything, instead of treating it like it's a negative, like kind of flipping it. So it's like, there's only one of everything. You got to buy it now or it's going to be gone.
Yeah, that's like our abandoned cart email. It's like, there's only one.
Yeah. Yeah. And like a tagline that we use a lot is "Get it or regret it," because we do have a lot of clients who message and they're like, "Oh, do you guys still have this?" And when we say no, they're like, "Oh, I really wish I had bought it."
We actually, a couple months ago, this is a random story, but we had to call the police on a girl because she was so mad that the dress sold to an online customer and that it was in the back, packaged up to go, but she was like, "It's in here, I know." It was like, we're like, "Yes, but it's sold to an online customer. Like whoever buys it
sold, it's
first,
gone."
it's gone." And she came back the next day and was like demanding to see me. And they had to call the police to get her out. Even the police were like, "Are we really?" It took them like 20 minutes to get her out.
The fashion police.
Yeah.
Literally,
They were like, "Are we really here for this?"
They said to her, they're like, "You're talking about a dress, right?"
Yeah.
And she was like, "I want it."
So people really love our product.
Yeah. What we're saying is it's great.
Wow.
I sent her a nice email. I was like, here's a bunch of other resources of secondhand stores. You can look for it there.
Did you know her like previous to this? Did she love the product, or she think she just loved?
I don't know. No, she was a new customer.
She didn't even really like the dress when she was trying it on. I was in the store the first time she came in and she was trying it on and she was kind of like, I don't know. I'm going to think about it.
Yeah.
And then I guess she thought about it and
Needed it.
really needed
No,
it.
I love this. Is actually so powerful that you're playing to what could be perceived as your weakness has become your strength.
Totally.
Because you see a lot of abandoned cart emails and they're like, "Buy now, it'll only be here for 2 more seconds," but it's like, you probably have 100 in stock.
Yeah, totally.
But this is like, that's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
It's like, this was meant for you, but if you don't want it, it's gone forever.
Yeah, totally. And we also have a lot of clients who will scoop up an item that's maybe we've had it for a while because it's a really unique piece, something that's maybe really bright neon colors. I had a client she was browsing in the store yesterday and she was looking at this pair of like neon pink and blue, like high top designer sneakers. They're
Gucci's, I know those.
Gucci ones, yeah. And she was like, I want to come back and sell some stuff so that I can use my store credit to buy these. Like, do you think you'll still have them in like 2 days? And I was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I do think a piece like this is kind of waiting for that right person to come in and find it. So I think she's going to be okay. But I hope we don't have to call the cops on her before she comes back.
That's interesting. So yeah, it's kind of like you said, it's kind of like finding the right person per item.
Yeah,
It's really
totally.
important.
Yeah, and we'll
Like-
have some
kinda like
pieces.
matchmaking.
Yeah, totally. We have some pieces that'll sit around in the store for quite a long time, and then the right person will come in and just fall in love and buy it on the spot.
Yeah, some pieces, even when I'm buying, I'm like, "Ooh, this is gonna be a tough sell, but it's so cool."
Yeah.
Okay, I'll take it. And it's like, okay, 6 months later, we sell it.
Yeah.
But like a really when I'm buying, yeah. Sometimes we know it's like something really cool, but it's also really unique.
Not
And that stuff we try and get up on our online store right away.
Yeah,
Okay.
totally. There's definitely like some designer brands that we carry that we know do better in like different geographical regions. So like obscure or like niche cult European designers sell really well in Europe and like Nordic countries. If we get a ton of like Rick Owens in, which is like this kind of gothy niche designer, I can pretty much guarantee it's going to Scandinavia, it's going to Berlin, it's going somewhere cool. Yeah, or maybe it's going to Jay-Z.
So
Fingers crossed.
That's something new that I just learned about you is that like your brick and mortar, you're here in Vancouver, you're selling to Vancouver audiences. Now but your online store, you're reaching Scandinavia and European countries.
Yeah, totally. I would say like our primary customer is Canadian, and then American, and then underneath that it's kind of scattered. But I would say we send a lot to the East Coast on the States. We send a lot to New York. We send a lot to LA. We send a lot to Japan if it's like a cool Japanese designer.
Jay-Z. Then Jay-Z's up.
And then there's Jay-Z who's, we just send him stuff.
Well, that's actually, like, it sounds like that's a big opportunity for you, is that it's such like a match process.
Yeah.
They could be anywhere.
Totally.
So like, do you think there's plans to try and tap into the more global market and reach new horizons?
Yeah, we're definitely doing more marketing to get our name out there. Right now, because the Canadian dollar is so bad, it's actually a good time to be marketing into the U.S. because our product's cheaper. You know.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
Yeah, I just went to LA for the weekend. Not good going the other way. The guy at the money exchange was like, "This is the worst I've seen it since I worked here." He's like, "Would you like to take more out on your debit card?" I'm like, "I'm good, man. I'm good."
That kind of works in your favor too, where it's like, "Here's the price. Oh, by the way, it's Canadian."
Yeah, that's what when people come in and they're from the States and they're shopping, I'm like, "Oh my God, everything's like 32% off." And they're like, "You're having a sale today?" I'm like, "No, you're having a sale."
Just for you.
It's kind of like without even cheapening the brand.
Yeah.
You don't want to like discount, but it's like, oh, it's just a built-in Canadian discount.
Yeah, well, and I mean, also, our business is kind of discount based in that it's designer products for a lot less than you would pay at retail. So it's even better when you have an American client come in because they're like, oh, this is $3,000 in the store back home, and here it's $400.
Yeah.
Ka-ching.
Here we go.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about, like, I have a few questions. We're going to be wrapping up maybe 5-10 minutes here, but I think one of the things I was wondering, like, what are the expansion plans? You said you're in your third brick and mortar location. Maybe you're going to start expanding the e-commerce side globally. Do you have any next steps that you think you'd do in the next 30 days here, or it's...
Yeah, well, we're doing a pop-up in Toronto in the end of March. So that will be one to gain new clients and suppliers out there, see if we're going to do a permanent location, but also to market our online business. So even if we just go out there for the month, it's key for us to get new clients and suppliers while we're out there.
This has been a really popular term. I don't know if you've heard of it. I've heard it all the time in 2020 so far. It's been a month. But multi-channel. Right? So it's like, yeah, you're going to build the e-commerce business. Doesn't mean you need a brick and mortar in Toronto, but it's nice to go down there and meet people down there.
Yeah, we say we're a brick, click, and pop. So we have a brick and mortar, we have our online store, and then we also do pop-ups.
Okay, one more time.
Brick, click, and pop.
Love that. Brick, pop.
Yeah.
Okay, and then so the e-commerce side, you're kind of, like, with that strategy, you're building the e-commerce business by visiting different locations. And maybe, what about, like, if you want to build a business in Scandinavia?
I don't know. We don't have a plan for that yet. Yeah. Sounds expensive.
Maybe it's a pop-up tour.
Yeah. Well, we were looking at doing, we were going to do a pop-up tour across Canada, and now we're doing more focus in Toronto, but I do want to pick a couple other cities, and it doesn't need to be as long. Like for Toronto, we're doing 2 weeks to a month, but in some other cities, we can go there for a weekend and do a pop-up.
Great. We didn't really talk about this yet, but have you done a lot of influencer marketing? Like, would that be a way to tap into a different city?
We do a lot of influencer marketing right now. Actually, I have some influencers who I need to get back to. Sorry, guys. But yeah, I mean, our influencer marketing for us, it's worked well. We do work with a couple of remote influencers on a pretty regular basis, and we have been seeing good returns on that. Influencer marketing is tricky because I think as a business, you have to think about an influencer as being their own digital marketing agency. And so they're selling their lifestyle, their personality, their photos. And so you need to be really clear with how you want your brand to fit in with their content. And it can get astronomically expensive. There are influencers that I have worked with in previous positions who charge upwards of $10,000 for 2 Instagram posts.
Yeah.
And you have to think, if you put that to a digital marketing agency, or Facebook or Instagram
Exactly.
ads, what would you get back for that
exactly.
10 grand?
If I was going to come to your agency and say that my budget's $10,000, what can you do for me? It's probably going to be $10,000 is going to get me a lot farther with an agency than it is with a cute influencer who posts photos at Coachella. And not all influencers are like that. A lot of the ones that we work with are really professional. They take it really seriously, and there's great kind of return. But you really have to think about where that money's going and be really specific with your guidelines in what you want back from the influencer, because they're usually super happy to do the work, but you need to be really clear with like all the expectations.
And
of them.
we've changed our expectations, because before people would message us and they'd have a big following and they'd want a bag, so they'd be like, oh, hey, well, I'll do 2 posts if we get that bag, and then we send them a $1,000, $1,500 bag, but that's already sold. So we get brand recognition, but we're not going to sell any products. So now we've changed it. So we'll, that's why it's easier to work with local. We'll be like, okay, we'll give you this amount of credit, but you have to come in and take photos of stuff that you're not going to keep, as well as the items that you're going to keep. So we have content.
That could be a strategy going into Toronto.
Yes.
We do a lot more loaned product right now too. So instead of gifting someone a bag or paying them out, $1,200, we'll loan them product if they're going on a trip. One influencer that we work with just went on a trip to South Africa, and she pretty much took a full wardrobe from us, got amazing photos in it. They look so good, but she's bringing it all back. And so once it comes back, then we can use her photos to make kind of like a lookbook. And the pieces will all be available for purchase.
It sounds really like you built a good community, like a good strategy, getting on the ground, getting brand awareness, getting people involved in your brand and modeling, and then you get to build content out of it. And
I would say like community building has always been a really big priority, especially for Courtney. One of our values for the business is to connect and uplift. And so really thinking about how we can do that, and how that will not only benefit us, but like our clients, our community, our suppliers, our staff.
Yeah, even when we first started out, we had events and parties all the time. One, because that's what I like to do.
Why not?
Yeah, but it also gets, that's how you kind of turn your customers into loyal customers or friends when they're coming in and you're having some champagne and and really like socializing with them as well.
On a branding side though, like that's you. So embrace that, like embrace the fact that you only have one product, embrace that you like to have events in community. It seems to be working. So I have 2 more questions, and one, just to kind of recap everything we're talking about. It sounds like there's a lot of things you're doing really well, like the community building, you're doing like the tons of different content. What would you say is like a very prominent e-commerce power that you've harnessed? And maybe it's just recapping what we talked about. What would you say is like the number 1 e-commerce power that you've harnessed?
I think Instagram. Yeah. And just having really good product. I know it's not, but like our website looks good. The product photography is really high end.
I think it would be being transparent about our product, because we are in a unique case because we only have that one of everything, and sometimes we get something in and it's not in perfect condition. It's not like it just came, packaged in plastic in a box with the fresh hang tag still on it. It's someone's worn it for a couple of years and now they don't want it anymore. So for us, I think really clear and concise photography that's the thing that I kind of spent the most time tweaking and perfecting when I first came into Mine and Yours, was making sure that not only are we showing each piece in its best light, but also being really transparent about any wear and tear, any flaws, any damages, and clear product description. So if something has a rip or a stain or a tear, which doesn't happen often, but sometimes it does happen, making sure that we're documenting that.
And we want it to sound worse than it actually is when they get there.
Yeah, so you want to be pleasantly surprised.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's like under promise and over deliver.
Yeah.
Because you want to open that box up and it's something wrapped in tissue and be like, oh my god, wow, like I love it.
That mark isn't that bad, rather than like, they didn't tell me about this.
Oh, cool. I like that.
Yeah. So I think just being really transparent with your clients, especially when you're in like a secondhand or one of a kind or handmade business. I think that's super important, and people really always value that from us too.
I just like thought, would you ever like I once worked, so before we had the e-commerce agency, I worked for a large retailer, and on Boxing Day someone broke in through the roof of the, like, it was a brick and mortar, they had e-commerce as well, but someone broke in through the roof and like stole, like tried to steal all this stuff.
Yeah.
And I was there working as the marketing person. And we went and like we got footage of it, and we put that footage up online and got the media involved, and we did like this Boxing Day bandit sale.
Oh my
Really?
God.
And it blew up.
That's hilarious.
It's interesting because we've had a couple break-ins, and I actually have some video footage of the people.
Well, I was thinking even, or like the crazy fashion fans.
Yes. Yeah.
Down at mine and yours.
Oh, I like it.
Some content, people getting carried away in a police car. It's like,
Well, I was thinking, I wanted to post it because I'm like, does anyone know this person? But someone's like, are you legally allowed to do that? And I'm like, I don't know. Let me look into it before I do. But
yeah, random thought there, but
Yeah,
I love that you brought up that story.
Yeah,
Like really raving fans.
yeah, we've had that happen, unfortunately.
Yeah, and so the last thing I want to ask you, if there's a consignment store or a secondhand high-end fashion store that is maybe kind of plateauing or they're just getting started, what is the top 1 or 2 things that they should do in the next 30 days to start heading in the right direction?
I think probably reaching out to your regular clients and your previous client base in like a really genuine way, just to like, hi, how's it going? We got some new product in. That's a great technique that we have used a lot, is personal outreach. And I would say just making sure that your inventory looks as good as possible online is that's a really solid thing you can do, because if something's like sad and saggy, no one's gonna want to buy it, but if it looks cute, I'm gonna add it to cart.
Yeah, and mine is throw a little event. Find a friend that has a penthouse. Bring your clothes over there if it's just an online business, and invite your customers and suppliers plus some of your friends. So if your customers and suppliers don't come, then you have people, so it doesn't look like a flop.
Penthouse, it's a key,
I don't know, like want something. It's luxury. Yeah.
Fun events always do really well.
Or like a nice new restaurant or something. But then if you have to pay like restaurant alcohol prices instead of like, champagne at your house.
Yes,
Yeah.
It's kind of like what you were saying too. Like the penthouse might be the right way to re-engage your existing base. It's like, guys, we're having a fun little hangout.
Yeah, exactly.
Phenomenal. Well, we're going to be together this evening.
Yeah.
We're hosting a Shopify meetup in Vancouver where you're both going to be on a panel. So I'm really happy that we get to continue the conversation then. And thank you both so much for participating.